Hey guys, long time no see. I've missed you guys. I'm so happy to be back on YouTube. I've kind of had like a week and a little bit off vlogging and I feel refreshed and ready to start again. So today I'm going to be doing another Ask Fleur video. If you didn't see my first one, I will link it here. I basically have started this new series where instead of doing Ask Me Anything videos where I just answer questions about anything, I'm doing them about specific topics. And I tweet about them either the day that I film them or the day before and ask you guys to tweet me your questions. So this week the topic was exams, because I know a lot of you guys are doing exams at the moment or preparing for exams, revising hard or not revising hard if you're watching this video. But you know, this one's exam related, so it's fine, whereas if if you're watching beauty videos, maybe it's not revising. But anyway, I got so many questions about exams. I decided to split this video into two parts. So the first part is going to be 5 questions all about preparing for exams, revision and all that kind of stuff, and then the second part is going to be 5 questions about actual taking the exam itself. So I'm going to get right into it because I'm talking nonsense. Number 1 comes from Kate, or Kate1241 on Twitter, and she says, how much do you study for your A-level, or how much did you study for your A-levels, so I can get an idea of how much I should be doing, how many hours a day? I can't remember my exact revision timetable for A-levels. I know that I had about 3 weeks pure revision before the exam, so I had 3 weeks of doing like all day revising 5 days a week. As for how many hours I would do a day, I would aim for 8. I would aim to like do 9 to 5 and then maybe have a lunch break, so maybe do 7. Sometimes I didn't manage to do that many. Sometimes I did 5 hours a day, sometimes I did 9 hours a day, but generally it was like between 5 and 8 hours a day for the last 3 weeks of my A-level revision. I don't know if that's a lot or if I don't really know compared to other people. I know my friends did a kind of similar amount. Okay, number 2, Ginevra from Twitter asks, I'm terrible at organising myself. What are your tips for staying organised at exam time? I actually did a video, I should mention this now as well. I actually did a like revision tips video a couple of years back. It was really early on in YouTube. I'll link it here if you guys want to go and see it. So it's probably a bit awkward. I think it was right when I first started YouTube, but I did my kind of exam revision tips because I was doing my exams then. Now I've finished university, so I don't have any more exams to do. Yay! So I'm not doing them at the moment, but I had a very, well, the light has just got so bright outside, the sun is like blinding me. Sorry guys if I'm totally washed out. I did have a very specific organisation technique when I was at university. I go through it more in the video that I did earlier, but I basically, I have a folder for each topic and I divide, or for each subject, and I divide each subject up by topic and I have different folders for each topic. My organisation varies a lot depending on when I was at university or A-levels. At university, I had lots of different subtopics and readings within those topics, and I go into that more in the old video that I did, which I will link. I did set up a definite exam timetable. It wasn't really that thought out. I just I used to print off those like blank calendar like squares, or even make your own just in a table. And I used to look when my exams were, obviously, because if you have like an exam 3 weeks after the other one, you need to revise for the first one like more intensely. But I basically just used to alternate days. So if I had 3 subjects, I would do like 1, 2, 3, and then perhaps if I was less confident in one subject, I would do an extra day a week. So for example, when I was doing my A-levels, I did physics, biology and geography, and I was a lot weaker in physics than I was in the other 2. I found geography and biology fairly straightforward, but I really struggled with physics, so I allocated an extra day to that kind of every week, and it was awful because I hated it, but it kind of helped. I definitely think look at your exams, look at when they are and how spaced out they are, and kind of work it around there and try and divide your time equally. I feel like it's good to change topic every day so you don't get too bored. If you do like a week of biology, a week of physics, I used to get so bored and I'd always forget what I've done. So I feel like if you do them alternate days, you can kind of revise what you've done in the last day a little bit and then go over a new topic and revise that, and I think that works well for me. Okay, so number 3, Emma Thompson from Facebook asks, what should you do when you just want to give up? And I had a lot of questions that were more about kind of revision and stuff, but I thought this one was really good because I know like everybody feels that when you're revising, that kind of like really miserable, like I just don't want to do this is like really getting me down kind of feeling. So whenever I used to get that, I just used to take a break, whether it be an hour or a day, however long I'd been revising for, however long I needed. I just used to kind of take a step back. Often I would actually go with my mum and say go out for lunch with my mum or go out for a coffee with my mum, go and walk the dogs, just get out of the house and just kind of let your mind go and relax instead of just being totally like tense the whole time. I also find that it helps to have at least one day of your weekend in terms of like the 3 or 4 weeks before, if you are revising that early on. I feel like it really helps to have at least one day, if not 2 days of your weekend off. And by off, I mean you can take the whole day off, or even just revising for a couple of hours in the morning and then having the afternoon off. I think it's really important to take a break and let your brain kind of recharge, because if you are just studying for weeks, or like staying up really late studying as well, I think that's a really bad idea, and I think that really kind of gets you down. When I'm revising, I like to get up super early, like 7 o'clock in the morning, and have a nice breakfast and relax, and then start revision at 8 or 9, and then finish earlier so that you have a bit of the afternoon just to help yourself chill out. Because if you are revising like till really late at night and you don't get any free time, I just think it makes you feel really down. So when you want to give up, just take a break, like get out of the house and reassess the whole thing and just come back refreshed, because sometimes it can be too much revising and it's just depressing because you're stuck at your desk all day. Okay, number 4, Isabella Doe, I think this is from Twitter, not Facebook, asks, what food is good brain fuel? I find I can't stop snacking on chocolate. For this, I would definitely say try and kind of find healthy alternatives if you need to snack. For me, I feel like when I'm revising, the revision part is so boring that by the time it gets to lunch, I get so excited about lunch. I've like planned my lunch in my head about what I'm going to eat, because it's like the highlight of the day, because revision is so dull. But in terms of like keeping away from snacking on chocolate, I think just don't have them in your house. Be quite like vigilant about not buying them when you go out, because the thing about revision is you're not moving a lot, so you're not going to burn off like a lot of excess energy. So eating things like chocolate, while it might be tasty and like a little perk for the day, if you're going to be revising like for a whole month and snacking on chocolate, it's not very healthy. So I tend to go for like a more healthy breakfast, like have a very filling breakfast. I think porridge is great, so like porridge, you could have a little bit of nuts and honey, or you can have fruit on it, is a really great way of kind of filling you up and keeping you full. If you do want to snack like in between meals, things like nuts and like dried fruit are always good, because they're a little bit more of a healthy option than eating chocolate. I also find like keeping hydrated whilst you're revising stops you from kind of wanting to snack so much, because a lot of the time if you're really thirsty, if you're not drinking like water and juice and stuff whilst you're revising, I feel like you get a little bit dehydrated, and sometimes you can confuse being thirsty for hungry and then snack, and then, so yeah, I would say be hydrated and kind of keep healthy snacks in your house instead of keeping unhealthy snacks, because then it kind of like doesn't give you the temptation, like there's biscuits and chocolate there. But then again, like, I think when you're revising, you do deserve the occasional treat, so definitely like have a few like emergency kind of like chocolate breaks if you need them. If, going back to the last question, when you feel like you want to give up, chocolate might help too. Okay, so number 5, the last question is from Ellie on Twitter, and she asks, how do you handle the stress of exams? I think this links into the 3rd question as well. You just sometimes need to take a break and just kind of leave it and come back to it later, because sometimes, especially with physics, like I said, that was like really my difficult subject at school. I would just get really stressed and like be not understanding things, and sometimes if you just take a step back and come back to things with fresh eyes, it really helps you kind of calm down. In terms of exam stress, like when you're going into the exam, I think the best way to avoid that is to make sure you're really well prepared. So cramming is not great, though I still do revise right up to the exam and like the night before and everything, but like you need to try and spread out your revisions so that your knowledge kind of builds and you look over the same topic like 3 or 4 times, so it's really kind of ingrained into your memory. So rather than just being able to kind of like reel it off from memory, it's more like you know it. It's like it's kind of in the back of your mind, because you've actually like taken an interest in the subject over a long period of time, rather than being like this fact goes here and this fact goes here. I think you can get away with that at school. So GCSEs and A-levels, I really think that you can kind of rote learn in a way, and you can really like, you can learn point after point after point, and it works. For uni, and it took me a kind of while to learn the difference between school and uni learning, but I really think that you need to have more of like a depth of knowledge in the topic that you are studying. So you have to kind of read into things, you have to do a lot more reading at uni. I think there's a question in the next part about the difference between school and uni, so I'm not going to go too much into that. But in terms of like reducing stress, I just think make sure you're really, really well prepared, or as well prepared as you can be. And just, you know, if you really ever feel like you're going to just go through a panic, just take a step back. Even if you're in an exam and you get panicked about a question, just move on to the next question and answer that, and then go back to it, because going back to things with fresh eyes helps so much. Yeah, and that is it for part 1. If you want to watch part 2, it will be up tomorrow. After it's up, I'll link it here so you guys can go and click on it if you're watching this a bit later. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!